Welcome to the channel. If you like this video, why not like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Anyway, on with the story.
Disclaimer, I do not own Naruto. Legacy of the Messiah. Chapter 3, The Eyes. Fire Country, Konoha/Chunin Exam Arena. What the hell is that? Ino asked in a shout as she saw most of the higher-ranking ninja around them looking like they were having a panic attack. That is a demon, Kakashi said simply. What? Ino asked in fear. It's the Ichibai no Tanuki, also known as Suna no Shikaku, Guy explained further. It's one of the Biju, albeit the weakest of the 9, with Kyuubi being the strongest, Asuma told the genin. This battle has just risen to a whole other level, Kakashi stated as he looked down towards his blonde student. Dope. Sasuke thought, having regained consciousness. Naruto. Sakura thought worriedly. Shouldn't we stop this? Kurane asked the other jonin. Kakashi however shook his head. No, let's see how this plays out. So they are both Jinchuuriki, interesting, I wonder what level they are both currently at, the Raikage mused upon seeing the giant San Tanuki. I think they're on my level, grandfather, judging by how they're fighting right now, Yujito commented. The Raikage nodded in agreement. They are both on the Chunin level normally, but when they access their inner powers like this, they look to be on the Jonin level. What should we do, grandfather? The Chunin asked him. Nothing yet, he answered as he returned his attention to the match. Beside him the Hokage watched in interest, having not expected this outcome. Suna sent a Jinchuuriki into the exam, I wonder why. Especially one with such a poor containment seal, it's almost like they were planning to use him for something, but what? No, this isn't going like I had planned at all, the Kazekage thought angrily as he watched the match progress. Have you got a plan, bro? Gamakaki asked hopefully. Naruto nodded as he bit his thumb and started making hand seals, just one. It will take all of Kyuubi's chakra I currently have to use though, he added mentally as he finished. He slammed his open palm down on the ground and called out, Kukiyos no Jutsu. There was a sudden explosion of smoke from where he was standing, and the next thing he knew he was standing on a 40-foot toad he knew all too well. Gamabunta, the boss of the toads. He had of course drained every last bit of Kyuubi's chakra he possessed to do it without harming himself, which left him a bit drained physically, but he still had his normal chakra reserves left, so he wasn't complaining. What the hell is that? Kiba asked upon seeing the giant toad in samurai robes with a large dagger at his side. That is the boss toad, Gamabunta, I never thought I'd see him again, Kakashi said surprised. That last time he has been seen by anyone from Konoha was 12 years ago on the night the Yondaime Hokage defeated the Kyuubi no Kitsune, Asuma explained to the genin. Really? Sakura asked, having never read about that detail. Grandfather, isn't that Yujito began. Yes, the Raikage interrupted. No genin should have the chakra to she tried to finish. I know, he interrupted again, already knowing what she was going to say. Jiraiya definitely has been teaching this boy. Naruto Kunyu. Hiruzen trailed off in thought upon seeing the giant toad. This damned brat. The Kazekage was seething at the sight, unnoticed to the other occupants of the booth. The two large creatures had all but taken up all of the room in the stadium, with only a small, by their standards, gap between them. The toad poofed his smoking pipe and looked up to the figure that stood on his head. The one that reminded him of his previous summoner. Not you again, boy, what do you want? Gamabunta asked annoyed. Naruto looked down into his eyes with a look of disbelief. Do you not see the giant Tanuki in front of you? Gamabunta turned his gaze towards the monstrous sand creature and narrowed his eyes. That's Shikaku. I need your help, Naruto said simply as he looked over at where Shikaku stood with Gaara now visibly standing on top of it. And what makes you think I'll help you fight him of all things? The last time I fought a Biju I received this scar on my eye, Gamabunta told him. Oh come on Pops, don't be like that. Help the kid out, would ya? Gamakaki asked from on Naruto's head. Pops? Wait, you two are father and son? Why have I heard none of this? The blonde genin asked surprised. And what are you doing here, Gamakaki? Gamabunta inquired when he saw the toad that was his son. Well, I came out to play a while back, but that guy over there started bullying me, Gamakaki answered as he pointed towards the giant sand demon. What? Gamabunta droned as he drew his dagger. Alright boy, I'll help you out this once, but you owe me a drink, the toad boss said, and Naruto nodded in understanding. As for you. Gamabunta took 2 steps forward surprisingly quickly considering his size and sliced Shikaku's right arm clean off. No one attacks my son and gets away with it, he shouted as he backed off to avoid the counter-attack and the sand arm dissolved. Ha 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 ha. Garo laughed insanely as he made a hand seal. You amuse me, Uzumaki Naruto, but your entertainment has come to an end. Tanuki Niari no Jutsu, his body fell unconscious in a matter of seconds as Shikaku's eyes sparked with life. Ha 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 ha. Shikaku's laughter echoed throughout the stadium, scaring the crowd and everyone else. That's the demon? Naruto asked in disbelief at seeing the clearly mad Tanuki. Gamabunta simply stared impassively. Yes. That's Shikaku, he was always the craziest of the Biju. Believe it, Naruto said weakly as Shikaku's gaze settled on them. Oh goody, my first victims, Shikaku chuckled and inhaled a large amount of air. Kid, we're going to jump, Gamabunta told him. What? Naruto asked, surprised only to find that the toad boss had jumped high into the air. Futon, Ronkyuden. Shikaku bellowed as he exhaled a large ball of concentrated wind at where the toad boss had stood just moments ago. The blast exploded with tremendous force through the wall, which immediately leveled it. You won't escape. He shouted, crazed, as tracked them and launched another attack. Futon, Ronkyuden. Boss. Naruto shouted upon seeing the 3 monstrous attacks coming at them. I see them. Suten, Teppadama no Jutsu. Gamabunta called out as he released 2 condensed blasts of water downwards. Is this a fight or a storm? Ino shouted as the 2 attacks collided and sent water spraying everywhere like it was raining. Go Naruto! Sakura cheered seeing her teammate winning. Damn, it looks like they missed one, Kiba growled as they all saw one of the wind balls continue on towards the toad boss high in the sky. Well, this is turning into quite the battle, the Raikage commented upon seeing the attacks the 2 were throwing at each other. Who do you think will win, grandfather? Yujito asked him. The Raikage remained silent, but the smirk remained on his face as he returned his attention to the fight. You missed one, boss. Naruto shouted as he saw the wind blast coming towards them at high velocity. Damn, Gamabunta grunted, knowing there was nothing he could do. This isn't going to be pretty, Gamakaki said as he covered his eyes. Time suddenly seemed to freeze for a moment as Naruto closed his eyes and breathed slowly. He slowly opened his eyes, having sent chakra to them, and they now looked like they had rings around the pupils and turned the color gray. Time returned to normal as he pointed his hand down towards the wind attack and whispered 2 simple words. Shinra Tensei. Almost immediately the wind bullet dissipated into nothingness and Gamabunta fell back towards the ground. He landed in a crouch at the other end of the stadium and grinned as he looked up at his summoner. Naruto stood firm on the toad boss head with his eyes glowing slightly gray, and his jacket was now open and swishing slightly in the wind, just like his previous summoner. Those eyes. Shikaku shook slightly upon seeing them. The Rinnegan, he growled out, no longer amused. What happened? Ino asked, confused. What's up with Naruto's eyes? Kiba asked as he tried to get a better look at them. He's using chakra in his eyes, Hinata stuttered out. What? Sakura asked, confused. That's the... Kakashi's eyes widened as he heard what the sand demon had said. The Rinnegan, the first Jujutsu and has only ever belonged to the first shinobi. The Rakudo Sennin and the man who founded the shinobi world, Asuma explained, just as surprised as everyone else. Wait, you're saying the Dobe has a bloodline? Kiba asked, looked between the Jonin. Apparently so, Kakashi answered, trying to calm himself. Why wasn't I told? Dobe. Sasuke's eyes narrowed in anger at this little piece of information. What is that, grandfather? Yujito asked as she looked the where Naruto stood on Gamabunta's head. That is the Rinnegan, an extremely powerful jujutsu, and I think it is the reason my brother asked me to attend this little event. He did say he felt something unusual coming from Konoha. Now I know what he meant, the Raikage explained. There's no doubt about it, that's the Rinnegan, but how is that possible? Neither Minato-kun nor Kushina-chan had it, so why does Naruto-kun have it? 100 thoughts and questions ran through the Hokage's head as he tried to understand what was happening. How can that failure have that jujutsu? I cannot let him live, he could very well become an even bigger annoyance than Pain, the Kazekage thought angrily as he weighed his options. Believe it, Naruto grinned, as did Gamabunta and Gamekaki. Yeah, the young toad cheered and jumped off the boy's head as his father dashed forward and crossed the stadium in a matter of seconds. They took up most of it. Shikaku raised his one arm and made to backhand the oncoming toad when he suddenly found his left sand arm blown off of his body. Shinra Tensei. Naruto called out, having used his gravity manipulation to destroy the arm. He panted slightly, having used up most of his chakra reserves doing so many high-ranking jutsu plus accessing Kyuubi's chakra. Grab him now. Right. Gamabunta shouted in acknowledgement and proceeded to grab onto Shikaku's shoulders. Go. Naruto jumped towards where Gaara stood unconscious on the sand creature's head. Wakey wakey. Naruto called out as he landed a solid punch to the unprotected redhead's face. Rise and shine. He slid down the Tanuki's nose as Gaara seemed to shake for a moment. Wake up, you bastard. Gaara's eyes snapped open and he immediately glared at the blonde for waking him. You had enough yet? Naruto asked as he suddenly started to move again. Not so fast. Gaara bellowed as sand shot up trying to encase Naruto. Shit, Naruto thought as he raised both of his hands in opposite directions. Shinra Tensei, her called out as the sand was blasted away with pure gravity. He continued running up towards where Gaara stood while dodging the spears of sand that were sent at him. I have to get in close or I'm dead. Hold still, roared the Ichibai Jinchuuriki as the entire Shikaku body tried to break free of Gamabunta's hold. Hurry up, kid, I can't hold him for long, Gamabunta grunted as he tried to hold on. My existence will not end here. Gaara shouted as Naruto jumped up towards where he was located. Shinra Tensei, he called out as he blasted the sand away that tried to intercept him and landed yet another solid punch to the Sunanin's unprotected face. Got you, he grinned as the sand tanuki started to crack around them before finally it all fell down and dissolved. We'll be going now, kid, come on Gamekaki, Gamabunta said before he and his son disappeared in a large poof of smoke. The two shinobi touched down on the now sand-covered ground and sluggishly they both climbed to their feet. Gaara raised his hand towards Naruto and had the sand at the blonde's feet around him. Sabaku Q. He clamped his fist together and called out, Sabaku Soso. Shinra Tensei. Naruto shouted as he blasted the sand away from him along the rest of the sand within a 20 feet radius. Those eyes won't help you here. Gaara shouted in anger as he charged forward, having expended the last of his chakra. Naruto swung his arm out towards him and shouted, Shinra Tensei. Gaara immediately found himself being pulled backwards by an invisible force crashed through the nearby tree, which surprisingly had remained standing throughout the clash between the two giants from before. Gaara tried to stand but couldn't find the strength to do so and collapsed onto the ground, unable to move. Are you done yet? Naruto asked, exhaustion clear in his voice. My existence won't be extinguished. I won't allow it, the Ichibai Jinchuuriki cried out, almost terrified as Naruto slowly and sluggishly made his way towards him. The pain of being alone, it's not trivial, I understand, but I won't allow you to hurt those that are important to me, Naruto told him as looked down at the fallen Sunanin. Why, Why do you go so far for others? Gaara asked, not understanding. Because they saved me from my own darkness, someone once told me, when a person has something they want to protect, that's when they become truly strong, Naruto answered truthfully. Gaara simply stared at him for a moment before he said, I see, I cannot win. Genma approached the two and upon hearing Gaara's declaration held up his hand to where Naruto stood. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. He won. Choji cried out happily and the crowd burst into cheers around him. He actually went and did it, Ino commented in disbelief at her side. Nice one Naruto. Kiba cheered at seeing his friend's victory. Naruto-kun, Hinata smiled down at where the blonde stood. He won. Yujito asked, not believing her eyes. He actually won, she let a smile grace her features as she stared down the boy. Why Yujito-chan, if I didn't know any better I would say you had a crush on the young lad, the Raikage commented innocently. Don TB ridicules grandfather, Yujito stuttered in protest as her cheeks turned slightly red. You're blushing, the Raikage teased. I am not, she said forcefully. Well, I hope you get used to the idea of working with him, because if my plan works out you will be seeing a lot more of him, the Raikage smirked, making her look at him in confusion. Well done Naruto-kun, though I have to wonder why the Rinnegan would be awakened in you, thought the man who was nicknamed the God of Shinobi. I must begin the attack now, the Kazekage thought frantically. Naruto swayed slightly but was caught by a red blur which he quickly recognized as Jiraiya of the Sunin. Great work kid, keep this up and you'll reach your dream in no time at all, spoke the Gamma Sennin confidently. Arrow Sennin? Naruto asked weakly as his eyes closed. Jiraiya nodded as he laid his godson down on the ground to avoid injury. Sleep now kid. You earned it? Moments later, though, a large purple barrier went up around the roof of the cage's booth and a genjutsu fell upon the stadium. This marked the beginning of what later became the Suna/Oto invasion, as a combined attack force of Oto and Sunanins launched a strike on the village hidden in the leaves. Author's notes. And that's a wrap on Chapter 3. The Naruto vs Gaara fight is finally over, and before anyone complains, I am well aware that the stadium isn't that big, but the two practically filled it while they fought, so I don't care. In case anyone starts saying I made Naruto too strong, I will refer you back to Chapter 1 where I stated clearly that he doesn't have that much control of the Rinnegan yet. The only thing he can do is Shinra Tensei, and even that isn't fully mastered because in the manga pain could crush people in one attack. Translation. Kuki Yos no Jutsu equals summoning technique. Tanuki Niori no Jutsu equals feigning sleep technique. Futon, Ronkuten equals wind release, drilling air bullet. Sutten, Teppadama no Jutsu. Shinra Tensei equals divine judgment. Sabaku equals sand binding coffin. Sabaku Soso equals sand waterfall funeral. Please read and review. See ya later.